can't you and YouTube just get along? Is that so much to ask?
No,
Is it so
the
hard?
bridges have been burned, Bonies.
I'm here with Snippins, Weenus, our precious boo boo, and Chris. And today we're talking our friend that got canceled from YouTube's part 2 with friends who love to give each other the business. So, precious Weenus, what's it now? Now I'm confused because I was calling you precious boo boo. I always call you precious boo boo.
Well, since you call me that, I put it on my title, so it makes sense.
All right, yeah, because I can't always do it correctly. So we did an episode about Chris and my.
You did an episode about me?
Yes.
Inadvertently, it just kind of went down the pipeline. I think we were supposed to be talking about aliens.
Yeah, what had happened was we were gonna do a UFO episode, and for some reason we started talking about you, and then for the next hour and a half, we were talking about you. But it wasn't specifically about you; it was about the entire situation and my jealousy about how
You're dabbing your eye with that thing.
Yeah, no, I have to. It keeps watering.
I know it sucks so bad that you did this to yourself.
This is a traumatic experience we're talking about. I'm crying.
What happened to your eye? Let's just start with that.
I got sunscreen in my eye because I was being a good friend and a good boyfriend to help move. And funny enough, I didn't even have to go. But I'm like, you know what? I'll go. And now
you went.
Yeah. I just sprayed it all up in my face.
Oh, it was a spray?
Yeah, it was a spray.
Oh, precious.
You should have put it down, Bootman, and had it below the neckline.
I'm a big dumb baby.
So you were putting it up. You were putting up the sunscreen. Put it up, Bobby.
Why would you be using sunscreen? You're a man of color.
Dude, that's what I tell Tristan, my beautiful girlfriend. I tell her this all the time, and she's like, "You can still get sunburnt." And I'm, you know, if people are looking at me, I look white, so I don't know if my skin offers me the protection that it should, but you know.
Well, I think if you put some protection on, it's still better than even if you are
than raw dog in the sun.
Even if you're chocolatey, even if you have the chocolate spritz on it.
The spritz.
I was going to single-handedly, as a 50-year-old man, like watch my fingers. Like this was the internet and this was you, and I was gonna make you guys smooch. But you're telling me you did that already. I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So the YouTube and you have made up already. This already
no, and I'm hoping that your podcast is small enough that it doesn't rile anybody up. No, I'll tell you what's crazy.
By small enough to be non-existent, but go ahead.
Like it's crazy because like I just hit 10,000. I'm getting flashbacks. I'm like, oh shit, is this when it's gonna happen? Are people gonna say, oh, there's that motherfucker? You know, but it has not happened yet.
Would they? Because aren't they about attacking the people who are already in that business, and you're not really in that business anymore?
Well, YouTube, it's almost like the world, right? Like there's so many different like cities, you know what I mean? And
exactly.
I'm in a community so far away. When I think when I first started the channel, like somebody mentioned it, but you can mute certain words in your YouTube comment section. So I muted the old channel name and stuff like that. But I haven't had anybody say anything on Twitter. Like, I don't know. At some point, somebody's going to be in both worlds.
You're going to see that post where it's the rewired soul, but the E and the I are like stars. Like they start censoring the word like people do on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. So I'm counting down the days. I'm counting down the days until somebody's like, oh, there's that fuck. And I'm going to have to change my, life again. So, because I started making content for my old channel again back in like last summer, probably around this time. And a super big channel like started sharing my stuff and everything, and I was like doing a new type of content, and the people just came back out of the woodwork. They're like, oh, this guy, and like it was a hot mess. FD signifier.
So the hornet's nest was kicked again. You're saying that did happen. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
Wait.
So, yeah. That's what I think every time it happens, Bonies. I'm like, oh, this is fascinating.
No, it is to me because again, I am rolling in the jealousy of how. Look, the most people I've ever made me angry at once. I think 12 is the most. Like, like I do something at work and then HR gets involved and then there's a meeting and then other people get emailed and then everyone's mad and then I just it's so delicious. But 12 is I think the maximum I ever had. I've never had 91,000 people mad at me at once. And
Oh, you think it was? Oh, Bobby, he thinks it was 91,000. He thinks, Bonies, on your computer, go to YouTube, type in the Rewired Soul, and tell me what the view counts look like.
Well, they're not all mad at you. Like they like
okay,
you.
Okay, yeah. Tell me what the YouTube algorithm tells you about me. See?
I just told you that I'm jealous of 91,000, and you're saying you should be jealous of more than 91,000. That's what you're doing.
Okay,
you're making it worse.
If you scroll down, the first video has 2.3 million views. The next one has 2.3 million views. The one after that has 1.8 million. Then we're talking 200,000. Yeah, it was a few more than 91,000.
What do you think this is doing to my mental health? That
I don't know,
you're attacking. The thing that I was fine with 91. I was like, maybe I can sleep at night. He has 91,000 people, and now you're adding numbers to that. Now, how do you think that makes me feel even worse? Why are you doing this?
I'm sorry you have to go through this, Bonies. I apologize.
I'm not going to be able to sleep for the next 3 days.
So much for a commitment to mental health, Chris.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
No, I left that world behind. That's all.
It's I mentioned this in the last week thing, although I don't think it made the cut. But like every day on Twitter, there's a main character. The goal is to not be the main character. You were the main character briefly on YouTube, and that sucked.
Oh, and Twitter. I couldn't do anything on Twitter either. I had to turn off all my notifications and everything because I was getting tagged left and right. Like, oh, anybody hear about this piece of shit? You know, it was a terrible period of my life.
So I know Precious Boo Boo is gonna correct me because he's a correcting McCorrecterson. But I like the expression that when you're walking through a river of shit, keep walking. Go ahead, you're gonna do it.
What do you mean?
You said it right.
I did. Walking through a river of shit. No,
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I said that Churchill has a similar thing when we were talking earlier.
It comes from the Churchill thing of when you're walking.
Oh, okay, I see. If you're going through hell, keep going.
Yes. So like you went through something horrible, yes, but you kept going, and that says something about you, doesn't it? And that Precious Boo Boo stuck by you, and that says something about that too, doesn't it? Like look at my Precious Boo Boo. Look at my Precious Boo Boo's little face. He defends and loves.
I have a big face.
Well, did Bobby tell you what happened to me or what happened to him? I mean, when he tried to publicly defend me?
What happened to my Precious Boo Boo? I don't know. What happened?
I don't know. Do you mean like where they found the quote of us joking around 10 years ago? That you
No. You went through what everybody went through. If like I was so nuclear at that time that if anybody tried to defend me, the mob would go after that person. So Bobby had to kind of like support me behind the scenes. But if he even mentioned me, you know, and it puts you in a weird position because you want people to defend you, you want people to give you public support, but you also don't want them to go through even a fraction of what you're going through. You know what I mean? It's really fucked. Like,
but there are people who like completely distance themselves from someone.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of pieces of shit out there.
I mean, but look at Boo Boo. I mean, he doesn't have much to protect. I mean, to be fair, but he's still protected. And that's a good thing. That's actually really good that he did that. It says something about not just my Precious Boo Boo, but it also says something about you that he would do that for you. Right?
Well, I love nothing more than kicking Chris when he's down. But
of course,
I don't think that a lot of the criticisms about him were correct. Was my main issue.
Yeah, and eventually, since it started spiraling into lies and stuff, just so people can get more views and everything. Like Bobby was saying, you guys were talking. I don't know if it was in the last episode or outside of here, but YouTube promotes that. Like it promotes that toxicity. And that was the main issue was during that time, if you even put my name in the title of a video, you were getting tens of thousands of views. So it incentivized people. Like once they ran out of anything even like semi-truthful about me, they had to start making things up. They started going after my mom. They started saying things like I was telling people that they should commit suicide, all sorts of weird shit. And like all this is actually what got me really into reading books and trying to understand human behavior and psychology. So I'm like, how do so many people believe things without a shred of evidence? And now we're like in the age of misinformation. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we've always been in that age. I mean, bounty is not the quicker picker upper. You just think it is. I come from advertising. You ever watch those YouTube videos where they do like a movie, but they do a movie recap?
Yes.
You watch the whole movie, but in a very small amount of time.
Just kind of
I watch.
They literally do a plot rundown.
Yeah. So what happens if what happens if they just made stuff up and that's not what the movie was? I mean,
yeah.
you could do that very easily, and I would believe it because I'm getting a very concise, small tidbit, and I don't have to do the research because that does take time. But what happens if it's if it's embellished for funsies or just pushed slightly or skewed? And that's sort of, I mean, if you look at what happened to news, where everyone's like fake news, it's not just that it's fake news or whatever you want to say that it is. It's like if you were an news anchor, you couldn't get people on your show if you said mean things about them. So everyone started saying nice things to get those people in. So now you become a personality. You become popular as a journalist, if you want to call yourself that. And so now you're no longer a journalist. You've left the realm of being a journalist. Now you're a personality. So that's what's happening to YouTube people who are doing this, or they're like, oh, I'm a journalist. I did a deep dive into this guy. But now I'm popular. Now I'm getting famous. Now I have to protect my brand. I'm getting what I think is a large amount of information in a small amount of space. But it's advertising is what it is.
I get it, man. Like, people are busy. Think about how much information we're consuming on a day-to-day basis.
Of course.
People just read headlines. It's one of the issues, it's one of the reasons I started having issues with when Joe Rogan was bringing on those anti-vax doctors and everything. Because like people were like, did you even listen to the episode? Did you even listen to it? And I I was kind of like in the debunking community for a little bit. And it's like, yeah, I listened to all like 6 hours, like 2 guests, that's 6 hours, right? How do you expect people to listen to 6 hours worth of content and also have the expertise to debunk everything that they're saying? So I would watch that, I would listen and everything like that. And then I would go and have to listen to experts on it too. Like, we're talking, it took me 10 hours just to get the correct information. When I got canceled and everything happened to me, I had probably 12 to 1400 videos up, right?
Yeah.
So multiply that at an average of 10 minutes. I have thousands of hours of content, right? And somebody comes in, they make a 30-minute video and says, here's exactly what this person is. And somebody's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And so I like empathize with the idea that people can't comb through all that content. But like, me personally, what I've had to start doing is, if it's like something I'm going to develop a very strong opinion on, like I fucking hate this person, I'm going to go the extra mile before I make that full judgment. Does that make sense?
It does, except I was using my calculator to debunk your math.
So who is this Chris? YouTuber, failed at psychology, failed at gossip, Joe Rogan hates him, irresponsible with spray tan, cries on cue for sympathy, his own friends can't defend him, so bad at math, he thinks Roman numerals are numbers in motion.
Okay, hundreds of hours of content.
But that's what criticism on the internet looks like.
YouTube has absolutely zero journalistic standards, right? Like, I've worked with reporters from like publications like, Insider and stuff like that interview me. Vox, was it Vox or Vice? One of those two was going to interview me too. But anyways, they have editors to answer to. Like, major publications have editors and they're like, yo, you need to get this fact checked or we're getting sued, right? On YouTube, these so-called reporters, right? Like, they take that role of a reporter, they can say fucking anything they want to. Like, think about how much QAnon spread information until YouTube cracked down on it. Think about all the anti-vax stuff, the COVID misinformation, right? Like, people can say whatever they want and have zero accountability for it on the internet. And it's kind of messed up. Like, I'm a big believer in like, people should be, the whole free speech type thing. But I also think there needs to be checks in place where it's like, hey, this might not be true. Like, I'm a big fan of the community notes on Twitter, because one of the best ways to get the correct information is to kind of get like as many people discussing it as possible. You know what I mean? Like, it's a collective type deal.
Well, it's better if you used to have to say allegedly before you said something that you knew was family.
Yeah.
Like Boo Boo eats babies allegedly. Now he can't sue me. Now he can't.
Delicious.
But when I'm a 13-year-old in my basement and I make a YouTube video, I don't have to say allegedly. I could just say whatever I want. I mute you, and then I just say whatever I want over your face, and I make the video really slow so you look inhuman, and then I make your face look red, and I blow it up so you look insane.
His face does look red though.
What's crazy is when all this stuff was happening to me and it was really piling up, right? Like, because I'm a fighter, right? Like, I've been sober 11 years. I was sober, what, like 5, 6 years? I don't even remember when that all happened. I'm like, I wanted to take control of the situation. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take legal action. Like, I was actually making some decent money. And it was just like think about it. What am I going to do? I'm going to hire a lawyer, file defamation suits, go through all that, spend like thousands of dollars. And then even if I win, doesn't mean it's going to change any minds. Like, I was talking to some lawyers. I had some buddies.
I would think that people would double down their opinion if you went legal with it.
Exactly. That's the other part. If you try to defend yourself, it just makes things worse, right? Because think about it. If somebody made 50 allegations about you and you start going through each one, after like the fourth one, it just sounds like you're lying, right? It just sounds like, oh, really? They said all of these things. It's one of the reasons Trump was so good at what he was, the Gish Gallop, right? He throws out so many things. How are you going to debunk each single one? And like, then maybe there's one half truth in there and they're like, oh, see, everything they say is true. Like, it is fucked up. And you're jealous over here, Bonies. I want to punch you through the screen.
I'm not just a little jealous. I'm a lot jealous. And the other thing you're talking about is bumper sticker mentality, where you take something that's very complicated and you water it down to a bumper sticker that's easily digestible. And that's something that I could do with anyone. I could do it with you. I could do it with Precious Boo Boo. I could do it with Snippins. Snippins, why are you dressed?
I don't know.
Why are you dressed so well today? This is very unsnippins.
I'm not.
What is this?
This
What
is
is
very
it?
nice.
Yeah, you do. Snippins, why are you looking at me?
It's a fisherman's shirt. It's like literally what people wear fishing. It's not nice. Look, I have a tank top on now. Are you happy?
That's more Snippins. That's what you have to give people what they're used to. Like,
sorry. I didn't mean to throw you off with my fisherman shirt.
Like, also Precious Boo Boo is well centered today on his camera. Look at him. That's not what people want. They want that sideways thing where he comes in with his teeth occasionally, then he's smiling. This entire episode is completely like topsy-turvy already.
And now you're going to make a video about how I screwed it up by coming on?
Yeah, oh my God, that'd be so good.
Math may be hard for me, but I can count higher than the number of views on this podcast. Boo Boo's head only comes in one size, Macy's Day Parade. I can't add, but I know a fisherman shirt is some made-up nonsense.
You're not using your old your old thing anymore, right?
I forgot how fucking insane you are, Bonies. Like, this happened. When was this? This happened 2019, so like 4 years ago. And all I can think about is I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And Ramon's over here like, so you don't really use that channel anymore, right? Like, could I maybe dip my toe in that? Maybe
I made an AIU saying nonsense, right? And I just relaunch it and I just say crazy stuff as you. Can I do that? Like, I don't care about, people think that it's about money. There really isn't that much money in YouTube, to be honest. You're not using it anyway. What are you doing with it? Nothing.
We just need you to do a quick ad read for ExpressVPN, Chris. And then...
do you understand? Like, people were threatening to like rape and kill my mom, right? People were messaging my girlfriend. I had to go to the local police department and tell them, hey, I might get swatted. And they're like, what's swatting? I'm like, oh, let me tell you about this internet thing, right?
Yeah, so had to explain. I forgot what it was. It's when they send the SWAT team to your house and they.
I was relating to when Driven accused you of swatting him.
Yeah, and he turned out being a fucking pedophile. That's the other thing. So many people who fucking accused me of shit and said the most insane shit, 90% of them, like, it ended up happening to him.
I don't know that that's a fair percentage because so many people made videos on you. 90% is an insane amount of people, dude.
Yeah. So one of the people who started it all, she was off her medications, right? And she was like going on places, getting interviewed about how I was a terrible person and everything. And like a year later, she ends up making a video apologizing, saying she was off her meds. And like nobody cared. Nobody was like, oh yeah, whatever. You know,
well, they're
like,
done with you. The chew toy had been popped.
Yeah, exactly. But
with any of these like story things, the craziness of it is far more interesting than what actually happened. Because life in general is very mundane. You do your laundry, you want to try not to, fall asleep. But like when something crazy happens, it is a new wonderful thing. And then if it turns out to be nothing, you don't want that part. You want the bumper sticker part.
It's kind of like fame, just the Hollywood stardom. Like how many people want to be famous, and then next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, I can't go anywhere because people are bothering me and taking pictures and all this other stuff, right? So like, because even with my new channel that I've grown to 10,000, I have a bunch of small people asking me for tips how to grow. And like part of me like wants to like Billy Madison their face and be like, don't you ever say that, right? Like you don't want to grow too big, because when you do, yeah, people will just start making videos using your name because that's the thing to do,
Do you regret participating in that aspect of the algorithm in retrospect?
Well, yes and no, right? So the whole reason I did it the whole reason I started doing it that way, I regret definite like portions of it, but was because I was trying to reach people discussing mental health and addiction recovery, right? And then I realized that there was this side entrance to do it. Oh, well, if I parlay that with something like my first videos that did really well were about 13 Reasons Why. It was a very popular show. So I took that and said, hey, here's how we apply some of these things going on to our actual lives. And I started using YouTubers. Then that's a whole morality discussion that we can get into. But yeah, if my goal is to reach as many people as possible to discuss mental health and like addiction recovery, like, my videos weren't getting seen by anybody, and we're in a mental health and addiction crisis in the United States. So it's like, there's always this like give and take. You know what I mean?
So using the people that have the higher count and then talking about them to get a higher count, do you see any problem with that?
So, okay.
Say no. You have to say no if you're a YouTuber, but the answer is yes.
So
you have to say no. That's my whole point.
So, Bonies, let me tell you about a woman by the name of Trisha Paytas.
Oh.
Sit back. So they're presenting this to millions of people. So is it then wrong for someone to make a video saying this is not healthy? Is it more right to sit back and not say anything? Is that the correct? Do we just turn our eyes? Do the bystander effect? If I see something terrible going on in public, should I just keep it moving? Should I just keep walking on by, Bonies? Oh, morality's a bitch, isn't it?
It's not a morality issue. Your brand was mental health YouTuber. Then you started gossiping against those people and with those people. Then you became a gossip YouTuber. You changed your brand. A long time ago, I met this agent in Hollywood. And one of the things he told me was, what I tell all my clients is, the minute you go outside and you lock your door and you're about to get to your car, you say in your mind, you say action. Because everything you do outside of your house, everything is part of your brand. Once you go outside your house and you're in that world of I'm an actor, everything you do is scrutinized. Now, YouTube has hilariously become the same thing.
But now you're saying action in your living room.
Yeah. You could say that only applies to actors, but The Rock isn't an actor. He's a personality. We like him in everything he's in. He's always The Rock. He isn't acting. He's just that personality we like. A YouTuber is a personality. So the same rules apply.
The funny thing is, Bonies, I work in branding and marketing now, right? These are all things that I've learned in the recent years, right? And it's like there's no class, there's no educational courses for how to navigate this on YouTube, right? One day, like you got to understand, my first few months on YouTube, I had like less than 1,000 subscribers. I'd get like hundreds of views, right? And within the year, I went up to 100,000, which is something not a lot of people do, right? And it's like nobody's there to educate you on this stuff, like what this branding is. Like you were in LA meeting like agents and all these other things, right? Like not everybody has that opportunity, so they're just fucking freeballing it out there, and you got to hope that you're navigating this fucking minefield in the right way. Right? There's plenty of people who took my formula, if you will, and they're doing it and they have not had a single issue. You know what I mean?
If they don't destroy their own brand, then yeah. But the other thing is people on YouTube take opinions and they lie that they are claims, and they are not the same thing. An opinion is not a claim.
I know this, and you know this.
A 13-year-old that's never taken a class in philosophy doesn't know this, and they don't know the difference. When someone's watching a video by a 13-year-old, they will just want the quickest little bit of information they can get. They don't know the difference sometimes either. when you take those two things and you start switching them around, like, oh, this is an opinion, but this is a claim. I'm not using the word allegedly anymore.
Yeah.
Now do you see the problem that we're having?
No, I you know, coming from my background, and getting sober, like there's definitely a part of me that wants to help people, you know, it was part of just getting sober and stuff. But I realize I cannot save or help anybody. But with what you're saying, the one person I teach this shit to is my son. Right? I'm teaching about all the misinformation, how to, you know, fact check stuff, get the difference between opinions and claims, you know, all these other things. But here's the question I have.
Please.
Snippets. You're sitting here. You're just now meeting me. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this scenario?
It's funny you should ask.
What are your thoughts on I'm very curious just about people's opinions on someone making videos that are you know, in my opinion, a bad influence on a mass amount of people. Should somebody then come in and then say, hey, this isn't so great? And then also you got to take into consideration, is it okay if the person's only getting 20 views on YouTube? And is it okay if they're getting 20,000 views? Because you never know how many views you're going to get on a video.
Before my precious Snippets answers, I will say the reason why you asking her is so perfect is because Snippins is exactly who we're talking about. She's never been like a longtime fan of yours and hasn't watched a bunch of your videos. The only thing Snippins knows about you is those what we like to call hit pieces.
Oh,
so Snippins, go ahead. And look, before you preface this with 1,000 things like the last time we
I
recorded,
have to preface things.
you know how it was an 18-minute video. It was like so long, I had to start chopping things up. And Boo Boo yelled at me because he's like, "You didn't put me in there defending Chris." I was like, it was an 18-minute video. Just most of it is Snippets saying, "Nah, I don't know him. You guys in your store, but however, and also, and did I mention, and then because, and like." Without doing any of it. But then what I'm saying is it's interesting because the only thing Snippins knows is what she saw. So it's fantastic that you're asking her. All right, I said all that thing. Now I'm going to bet. Go ahead, Snippet.
Okay, yeah, I never saw a single one of your videos, so I don't know what your videos were like.
Sucks to suck, Chris.
Yeah. Some of us just aren't popular.
Well, I mean, YouTube gives you a list of videos to watch, and I'm like, why do I keep getting these videos about this person? And I watched one. I was like, oh, that's unseemly, and it it really came off kind of unhinged. I was like, wow, this guy's not doing well with what's going on, and it was uncomfortable to watch. It was very uncomfortable, and
it was a video. It was one of my videos, like when it
No,
happened.
No, it was a video of someone else talking about you.
And they used clips of me seeming unhinged.
She saw a bumper sticker.
I made the argument that you probably were unhinged at the time because your walls were closing in.
When it was happening, the only thing like I made mistakes. Like there was definitely valid criticisms at the time. But 90% of the mistakes I made was after the fact. After it happened, like I made so many wrong moves.
And that's what I said.
That is what you said.
I said, from what I saw, it seemed like you probably could have very easily recovered from the initial criticism. It was kind of like how you approached that criticism that made you look kind of unhinged.
It's so hard to explain, but like from the outside looking in, because before it happened to me, I saw it happen to so many people. I'm like, here's what you should have done.
Oh, it's happening to Colleen Ballinger right now.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I'm glad you're not Colleen Ballinger.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember.
You did get a ukulele recently, though.
Well, actually, but
I
used to have all these.
Shoot to stardom.
I had all these thoughts about what somebody should do, but when it was happening, like my brain just like I was like, oh, I need to defend myself. I recorded like a live stream at the airport because not only was it happening, but I was on my way to Florida for a YouTube convention as it was happening. So on one of my layovers, I hop on a live stream trying to like defend myself for 5 minutes. I made a terrible video late that night that was like encouraged by somebody else. And like, if I could do it all over again, I would have just shut the fuck up. I would have just shut the fuck up, kept making just normal videos, whatever. You know what I mean?
It's exactly what Snippin said.
That's kind of
Yeah.
That's exactly. I said the thing that he should have done was nothing, but he did everything besides that.
Yeah.
But when you ignore
That
it,
was
doesn't the
my
problem
thought,
just
though.
keep cropping up? Like people keep demanding answers, though.
Well, if the YouTube algorithm tells them that they're getting more popularity by making videos about it, then they'll keep doing it. And then eventually people will lose interest and they won't anymore. This isn't about them being mad at you. This is about the numbers they see when they are mad at you. If I see big numbers for being mad at you, guess what I'm going to do? More of that.
Yeah.
That's what YouTube is. So does it even mean, does it matter if I was right? Does it matter if you were wrong? Does any of this ultimately matter? No,
No.
It's about what's popular at the time.
I wanted to say one thing.
Yes,
I am
Snippin.
glad that I got to hear you talk. Oh, am I delayed? I just wanted you to know that I'm glad that I got to hear you talking. You don't come off as unhinged at all today.
Thank you. I've done a lot of therapy since those videos were made.
I love how she said today.
And I just don't have the energy to stay mad at somebody for something that I don't care about anyway.
That had nothing to do with you.
The Snippins is too lazy to be mad anymore. Does that make you feel better?
I wish more people could be like Snippin, is all I'll say.
My only takeaway from this is, how did you do it? Give me let me have a pen.
I got rapid success. I got very big. I got a little cocky about it too. I pissed the wrong people off.
Yeah.
And then the YouTube algorithm. I gotta admit, even though I did a lot of hard work, the YouTube algorithm did a lot of the heavy lifting.
It sure did. How do you spell algorithm? Is that hyphenated? All right, look, the point is, I'm not going to write any of this down. The point is, what happened to you?
Let's rewatch the video, Bonies.
All I have to do is watch a short 3-minute video by a guy who doesn't show his face, and sounds like a child. But that's all I have to do, and then I have everything I need to know. Can we get a put it up snippets from you?
I sent you like 15 of them in different tones, voices,
put it up snippets, not put it up mamas.
Oh, put it up snippets.
You gotta do the hand.
But what?
Where's the fist?
It's so narrow. I can't get it in.
So I have tallied our votes, and feel free to write in the comments section who you think is never right in this episode.
Bootman's wrong. He's the one that got canceled.
No, fuck it. You depressed me.
You're never right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more content from the Never Right podcast.